For a grim stretch when the sullen pall of mortality's long shadow seemed destined to extinguish her radiant light from this plane forever, it felt as if the United Kingdom itself held its solemn breath awaiting the darkest celestial augur. Would the cosmos rally its ineffable mysteries to sustain the luminous rose that was the nation's most adored princess ambassador? Or was Catherine's unfathomably tragic withering at the cruelest inscrutable apogee of her sovereign inspiration meant as the final rapturous whisper before an eternal hallowed silence? Those were the dread-tinged meditations haunting the collective soul of a kingdom unmoored during the Princess of Wales' harrowing crucible against an implacable health mutineer. Ever since the first shocking diagnosis revealing the virulent recrudescence of an exceptionally remitted breast cancer attacked her with unforgiving totality, Catherine's legions of admirers understood the stakes at hand. This was far more than a battle against mere corporeal failing. It was an entire nation envisioning its most radiantly transcendent contemporary personification of grace, compassion, and strength being laid agonizingly low by biology's most merciless siege artillery. While the royal family's impeccably disciplined informational praetorians moved to erect thickly fortified bulwarks around the princess's holistic treatment protocols, telltale sigils of rapidly accelerating fragility still pierced the airwaves in steadily accumulating deluge. There were the increasingly lengthy absences from public duties that once defined Catherine's universally admired work ethic. The fleeting paparazzi snapshots depicting sunken cheeks and drawn complexions in poignant subversion of her formerly incandescent vitality. And most ominously of all, the gradually dwindling frequencies of interviews and televised addresses intimated a fatalistic unspooling of a vibrant human compass pointing the way towards optimism's sovereign centralities now fading into irreversible dimness. It was during these bleakest nadirs, when phantasmal advisories from the princess's attending physicians intimated even the most drastic life-extending measures could only yield temporary reprieves, that King Charles III at last unclasped the gates to let his subjects' collective marrow-dread flow freely. With a grim solemnity conveyed like funereal scripture etched into ancestral stone, the monarch confirmed to the world that his beloved daughter-in-law's battle had entered its ultimate mortal theater. Though conventional clinical vocabularies were fastidiously upheld, the implications remained clear. Catherine's days in her present incarnation grew heavily direly foreshortened, with any remissions holding faint hopes of permanence against the merciless predations. We have achieved a solemn understanding that only divine intervention from this crossroads may yet avail us, though we shall remain faithful in petitioning the universe's supreme Caritas with all due reverence and spiritual pugilism. The king addressed the realm in somberly regal cadence about the princess's seraphically dwindling vitalic aura. For now we ask only that our most exalted exemplar of grace and empathy be spared any injustice of ravaging mortal diminishment or abject dissolution, so that her optic memory rays may refract outwards in perpetuity as guidons of illumination in humanity's cosmic journey. From that moment forward, the sacred celestial prayers echoed across every cherished British folk and church alcove coalesced into a deafening cosmic chorus drowning out the encroaching doldrums portending deprivation. In the most steadfastly sturdy parochial hearts of the sceptred isle, whispered hopes alchemized into roaring liturgical demands that the material universe manifest its most transcendent mysteries for Catherine's sacred corporeal deliverance. And so it was that whether the most archaic cloister or contemporary social media Gaia, a million voices unified through organic synchronicity into one shared mantra. Deliver back our earthly seraph made flesh. Render her petals fully unblemished, for they embody this nation's boundless spirit. Do not allow such radiant sovereignty to surrender its immortal kingdom unto ashen dissolution, but rather crown it once more with eternal renewal. What precisely catalyzed the universe's ultimate response remains ensconced in the realm of divinity's hallowed mysteries. Perhaps it was the scorching intensity of a people's burning need for Catherine's supernally inspirational avatar to endure as a lodestar across generations. Or the sheer immutability of her soul's halo conjuring some deeper physics principle of spirit's endless conservation across infinite refractions. More rationally, it could simply have been the astounding convergence of cutting-edge therapies and medical technologies finally coalescing into a critical mass of regenerative curatives. Regardless of the ultimate causal vector, the euphoric consequences heralded the Princess of Wales's full reconvalescence in a rapturous crescendo of resurrection, marking one of the United Kingdom's most globally uplifting moments since the Jubilee splendors. No sooner had Catherine's triumphant rematerialization into the corporeal realm been officially confirmed than national jubilation reached stratospheric paroxysms. All across the sovereign motherland and throughout the diasporic Commonwealth territories, thunderous ovations roared like supercell detonations, their stupendous resonances rumbling through the celestial firmament itself. In the instantaneous wake of the soul-affirming news, delirious scenes of euphoria that would etch themselves into the cultural iconography played out across the kingdom in spontaneous combustions of ecstatic reverence. From flag-waving masses clogging streets and bundling into pubs to peal celebratory renditions of God Save the Princess, to cathedrals deafening from thunderous Hosanna chanted hosannas, to seaside clifftops igniting into aurora borealis pyrotechnic fiestas, there was no containing the boundless gratitude. Through it all, news cameras captured unmistakable testaments to the sacred power of cultural mythogenesis, elevating Catherine's radiant princess archetype into timeless veneration. Swelling around Kensington Palace in pilgrimages evocative of the rapturous virgin queenship devotionals, multitudes spontaneously assembled en masse with votives and rose-wreathed iconica, united in an upwelling of passionate devotion. This time, however, their emotional overflowings reflected not penitential piety but overpowering catharsis at having their sovereign muse delivered back from the abyss of mortal decay. We've been granted a miracle, for our nation's most inspirited healer guide to be resurrected in eternal luminescence to satiate our collective spiritual emanations for generations to come, shouted one teary-eyed middle-aged matriarch clutching rosary beads, her voice nearly inaudible beneath clamorous euphoric roars. They can never allow such sublime angelic flowerings to ever fade into permanent unbecoming wilt, for our cultural and ancestral validities are bound to her blossomings and cross-pollinations. If the rapturous outpourings nationwide embodied Catherine's transcendent power to unite the realm through transcendent devotion towards her celestially imperial symbol craft, the most stirringly personal images emanated from those closest to her sacred heart. Most iconically seared into the ages stood William, the Prince of Wales, whose emotional stoicism became transfigured the instant his wife's supreme rebirthing was corroborated as supreme verity. There before innumerable news cameras at Kensington's facade, the usually stalwart heir apparent not only crumpled openly to his knees amidst the thunderous cries, but broke down in cathartic heaves of euphoric release, his shoulders shaking with profound masculine sobs. As cascades of diamond streams coursed down his chiseled regal contours, the prince seemed to symbolically personify the immensity of his wife's ultimate elevation as the nation's deathless sovereign ideal. She's returned to us, our radiant jewel, our most sacred light undiminished. William repeatedly cried towards the heavenly skies through ecstatic tears, as if pouring out his entire spirit in gratitude towards the cosmic forces rebirthing his soulmate back into immortality's boundless kingdom. You did not let such boundless grace extinguish, you let her full splendor endure as lodestar unto all our seekings of transcendent glory. In that transcendent moment of unrestrained apotheosis, the Prince of Wales stood transfigured as the once and forever avatar of an entire civilization still firmly rooted in their most ancient pagan dreamtimes. Here was the spiritual sovereign's rapturous hearthfire and sacred embodied totem all manifested as one.